on the possibility of Greece being allowed to default on up to half of its debt, provided tough austerity measures do take effect. The German Chancellor, though, Angela Merkel, has warned that if Greece is allowed to default, investor confidence in the Eurozone would be shattered. Daniel Griffiths reports.
Could they be getting closer to a rescue plan? Markets are up today on suggestions that Europe's leaders might be nearer a deal. Officials say various ideas are being discussed. A possible plan might include a 50% write-down of Greek debt, a big increase in the size of the Eurozone's bailout fund to support major economies like Italy that are struggling with their debts, and an injection of tens of billions of euros to recapitalise Europe's banks so they can absorb losses from a Greek default. That may worry Eurozone taxpayers, especially in the biggest economy, Germany. But across the Atlantic, President Obama's piling the pressure on Europe's leaders to do a deal.
They have not fully healed from the crisis back in 2007 and never fully dealt with all the challenges that their banking system faced. It's now being compounded what's happening in Greece. So they're going through a financial crisis that is scaring the world.
Investors around the world also want a Eurozone rescue plan, and soon. But still, no one really knows when or how that might happen. Daniel Griffiths, BBC News.
Well, those Papandreou-Merkel talks will take place in the next few hours, and we can get a view both from Athens. Our correspondent Mark Lowen is there. First, though, let's cross over to Berlin. We can speak to the BBC's Steve Evans. Steve, you are where the action is. And have we got Angela Merkel swimming against the tide again today?
I don't think so. You've got to see this meeting as a setting of the scene, if you like, for a big vote on Thursday when the Bundestag decides whether to give Greece the bailout already agreed on by Eurozone leaders back in July. So what I suspect will come out of this meeting is a lot of assurance from both sides, from both parties, that the Greek austerity measures remain on track, that all the things that have been promised will happen. Therefore, the implicit message to lawmakers on Thursday is you can vote yes because you're not wasting German taxpayers' money. So there may be discussions about debt write-downs and forgiving Greece some loans, whatever. That kind of thing will be discussed, probably, but in private. The public face will be about the austerity, the measures taken, and they're on track.
Trouble is, Steve, the markets have got their teeth into this idea of, as you call it, a write-down or some sort of default, and they'll want to know more, won't they?
Not from this meeting today, I don't think. If you talk to people around Chancellor Merkel, they will say that the stuff that's been mooted over the weekend around the IMF meeting about a big global package involving banks, involving bigger pots of money in the middle, involving the IMF, has not been helpful to the immediate cause, which is getting that vote on Thursday. Chancellor Merkel uses the phrase step-by-step approach. And what she means by that is, let's get that vote in the bag on Thursday, step one. Then let's move forward to look at further measures to do with the immediate situation, if you like. And what some people in the government then say is, and then let's look even further forward to the governance, the way the European Union and the Eurozone is actually governed, to try and resolve something permanent to do with the democratic structures in the middle of it, and a fiscal and economic unit, an entity which doesn't seem to have that governance in place yet.
Steve, thanks very much. As for the Greek perspective, Mark, of course, there's another proposal for further, in part of this austerity package, the property tax. That would bring in quite a lot of money, wouldn't it? Is it going to get the vote?
It's expected to pass with a very tight majority, David. It's going to be discussed in the Parliament building behind me later on today. The PASOK ruling party says that they will vote unanimously for it, although there are voices of concern really now among the PASOK party, the governing party of George Papandreou, about the range of austerity measures that are being pushed through here. They are deeply unpopular A poll for the Greek TV station Mega TV last night said that 92% of Greeks now say that they are unfair. The Greek government says it would plug a €2 billion hole in this year's budget. Some analysts say that is too optimistic, partly because a lot of people say that they won't pay the tax. The power companies that are meant to levy the tax have already said that they will sabotage it because there is such a depth of hostility here to the austerity programme.
Right, that 92% of people saying it's not fair. I suppose from further afield, Mark, everyone will be saying to Papandreou, well, life's not fair sometimes, get on with it. Can he marry that with his domestic position?
Well, he, at the moment, has enough of a majority in Parliament to continue to push through with the austerity programme, even though there is widespread opposition from the main opposition party, the New Democracy. They want a renegotiation of the bailout terms. They're unhappy with the austerity measures that they're pushing forward. But there will be a lot of pressure from the international community, from the Eurozone in particular, for George Papandreou to stay the course. Because, of course, if Greece does not pursue its austerity measures, if Greece does not pursue its deep structural reforms, it will not get the next tranche, the next instalment of bailout money, which this country desperately needs, €8 billion within the next few weeks in order to avoid bankruptcy. So I think that's very much the message that George Papandreou will be giving to Chancellor Merkel in Berlin today, that Greece will stay the course, will pursue its austerity measures. And of course, Mrs. Merkel needs Greece to show that in order to present a united front to a very difficult, potentially difficult Bundestag parliamentary vote on Thursday in Berlin.